It's
Audio,
it's like
is the
you got
audio
one
working?
client.
Hang on.
Huh?
I feel like the audio changed on my...
Oh, did it?
Did it?
No,
I feel
you're
like...
good.
No, I can hear it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just checking.
Welcome to the Creative and Code podcast,
Welcome to the internet, my friend.
brought to you by ID Digital Agency.
Kind of a big deal.
Dive into the dynamic world of digital marketing, creative design, and coding with top experts, latest trends, and actionable insights. Let's get inspired and innovate together.
It's showtime.
Hey everyone, my name is Jay, this is Emily, and we are Creative and Code.
Last one, we recorded one last week, and then the recording didn't work, and we had to do it again.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea to just bang them out in one go, and then we guaranteed that it's worked.
That's right, and that's one of the big things that you'll find being a content creator is so many things can go wrong.
Well, yeah.
Even this podcast, we've had it where it's auto-stop. So right now, just to give you a bit of an idea, this has been shot on an iPhone 15 Pro Max on 4K.
A bit of a plug there.
It's connected then through a USB-C port to the Rode Podcaster Pro 2. That's then funneled out to these mics, and Emily's wearing the headphones because we have had it in the past that we've had a couple of the microphones muted. We had the iPhone overheat once as well.
Yeah.
Had the cable still in it, but it only recorded the audio through the phone and not through these microphones. So many things can go wrong.
There's a lot of cables. I think that's the problem.
Having the phone also on focus so that no one calls and disrupts the audio is really important as well.
It's true, yeah. I mean, when we just spoke to Terry in the last episode, she mentioned that to avoid all of that, she now hires a podcast studio
People.
where they do it all for you. So I guess...
Yeah, you just have to walk in and start talking.
Yeah, for serious podcasters, that's clearly the way to go.
Yeah, so we're dipping our toes in this
exactly.
at the moment, having a great time doing it.
Yes.
And one thing that we have learned over, I guess, the last 3 or 4 podcasts is it is all about the people. It's about talking and
people.
connecting, and that's what we're trying to do with this. So if you are new to this, this podcast is really about connecting those that are interested in what we do, creative code, which stems into design, development, marketing, behind the scenes, complexity, platforms like HubSpot and Wix, Webflow, WordPress, all that kind of stuff we will talk about. But today is all about talking to Emily. So getting to know a bit more about Emily.
Yay. I'm thrilled. I feel like after interviewing you, you have a lot of insights after 20 years in the industry, and it's not going to be that thorough.
I don't know. I think that is one thing I think will prove wrong. So let's find out.
You have my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
Emily, what year were you in when you started to realise that you would maybe go into social media?
Like, as in what year level in school?
Yeah, in high school. Yeah,
I mean,
or primary school if it was that young.
No, I've been using social media my whole life. Yeah, they were starting to kind of put in rules about children using social media. It was kind of at that point. Like, it seems crazy to think.
And you're like, stuff it. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, it was such a new thing for parents as well, and everyone. Yeah, it was a whole thing, which is interesting now because it seems like the conversation's still happening, and here we are, 15 years later. So very odd. But yeah, I mean, look, in school and everything, I was dead set on being a graphic designer. That's that was my OG. But then...
And what were you designing back at school? Do you remember?
Just like anything, VisCom, you would do a whole range of design stuff. But yeah, it's kind of like I went to uni to study graphic design, and then I did a double degree with business as well, because I thought, when I'm a graphic designer... My cousin had done graphic design, and she was like, you need to have some business knowledge. And I was like...
And what did you learn? Did you learn account management or...
Yeah, I had to do an accounting
profit
course.
loss statement?
You have to do all of the basic business courses. Yep. Yeah, so I did accounting, I did economics, oh my God. And it's the kind of stuff that it's kind of like being in school, you just study, and I could do it, it's fine, I got good marks or whatever, but it's like, how can anyone do this as a career? It's horrible.
Yeah, shout out to Bridget. Yeah,
shout out Bridget. Yeah, and then it was so all of that, I was like, I'm clearly going to be a graphic designer because all this business stuff sucks. But then it got to the end of my uni degree, and I'd started doing minor freelance stuff as a graphic designer, and I was like, this is horrible. I hate this so much.
Who are you freelancing for?
I mean, I did a few local ones in where I'm from in regional Victoria, just local businesses through yeah, just same kind of thing, like networking connections, just like people I knew who just basically wanted really cheap design. And, you know, the best way to do that is to get a uni student to do it. So, yeah, but it was kind of, like so much of design is having, you know, your creativity on the page and like really showing what you can do. And then I quickly found out that with designing for clients, it relies on what the client wants. And I didn't like that.
You wanted to do it your way?
Pretty much.
And if they didn't like it, like most designers, they'd be like...
exactly. Oh. And then it would just, like, after a few things and whatever the final product would be so far from what I started with, I was just like, I don't know about doing this. And then...
It's almost to a point where you just don't want it even on your own portfolio. You're not...
Well, that's it. Like, I was just... Yeah, it was just ruining my love for design. And I love design and art and everything kind of creative, and it was just destroying, my interest in any of it. And I was like, I don't think I can do this as like a career. So that's when I kind of pivoted my final year of uni to, like, I was already majoring in marketing, but yeah, I kind of pivoted to focusing on the marketing. And then, I interned for another, like an aged care agency, business, which is not our client, it's a different one.
Yeah.
But it was there when I interned in the marketing department. I was like, oh, like this makes more sense to me, like as a career.
You were interning when you were in high school, or
when I was in uni.
Uni, okay.
Yeah, so I was coming into my final year, and I was like, now this makes sense. And then it kind of clicked that, especially my final year, that graphic design and marketing actually sit hand in hand, and a lot of people expect marketers to be graphic designers when they're not. But the fact that I actually, graphic design for marketing comes like pretty easy. Like it makes a lot of sense to me. Which makes doing graphic design in a marketing context, much less stressful than doing graphic design in like brand designers and things like that. That's so not my forte.
So you've pivoted then to marketing from more graphic design, and marketing obviously means it's not just about creating pretty things. It's about having the message and getting it out to the right people and then being able to track it.
Well, that's true. And that's the kind of thing, like I was obsessed with advertising as a child, which I feel like is weird.
In what way? Like, was there particular ads that you liked?
As like an 11-year-old, like, do you ever watch the show The Gruen Transfer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that show. Like this.
Will Anderson?
Yeah, Will Anderson, yeah. Like as a child, like what child was what? I don't know. But I was like really into it. And I kind of, for a while when I was a kid, like I was like, I'm going to be in advertising, which I didn't even know what that meant as like, a young teenager. But then, it all kind of just like clicked into place a little bit when you talk about like, the messaging of marketing. Like, I can actually combine some of those, knowledge points from my interest in advertising and my interest in design, and kind of it all fits together in marketing.
I found when watching that show too, you have these moments where you're watching something, and normally the average viewer of an ad just sees it, doesn't really think too much of it. Little do they know that they've absorbed that message and it's ingrained in their brain, especially for like beer commercials or whatever too, that the next time you go off and you see the line of beers that you can order from, the tap beers, you're just like, I've had that one. I don't know why. It
sticks in your mind. That's, and I think like back then, obviously, especially in the Gruen Transfer, it was a lot about like TV advertising and things, which obviously really isn't my forte now, and people still do it, but it's not really what we're involved in. But so much of that now, even that like top of mind, is so much through like social media advertising and creating like the channels that you want and remarketing, and like it's really interesting, like understanding how much impacts me as a person, and then knowing I can build that into other people's brains.
And sometimes it's hard for me to watch ads because I'm constantly looking at what's the message, what's the media, where are the mistakes.
Exactly.
And you're just not looking at it as an average punter. And sometimes I'll be sitting there watching an ad, I'm like, that was actually a really good ad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the latest Airbnb ad. And it talks about why would you go on holidays with 5 friends and each of you have your own hotel room. And all it is there's like these 5 boxes that they all go into at night and they go to sleep. And all these boxes just kind of convert into a nice big house. It says when you could all be in the same house and have a great time, Airbnb. And I'm like, that's such a good story.
Good. Yeah.
Like it's bringing people together and showing what Airbnb is about within 10 seconds. And that's what the Gruen, they would dissect all this stuff, wouldn't they, all these ads. And
some really good stuff on there. Yeah, I think it's still running. Or there's like a version of it that's still
there's
running.
heaps of it. Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, I've lost track, but...
I used to watch back in the day, but haven't recently. So you've obviously got a knack for looking at marketing and advertising and seeing what works and what doesn't. How have you then applied that to your first job which was before here.
Before here,
Yeah.
I was a marketing assistant. It's kind of like, a little intro. Like, I guess it wasn't a grad role, but like intro to the industry kind of role. Like, yeah. And it was for a retail brand. We sold stuff in like Harvey Norman and JB Hi-Fi and stuff. But that was such a good jumping off point because it was like making me realize that, like half the stuff you actually learn in uni is so irrelevant to the day-to-day life of working in a marketing role. They make you think you're going to jump straight into like producing a television campaign and like all this exciting stuff. And then you realize you're just like filling out a spreadsheet about like conversion rates, which like it's good and bad. I kind of almost felt like I was going to go into that crazy world or whatever and it was going to be super exciting, but then you kind of start to enjoy dissecting the data about things and doing the kind of more mundane tasks to do with it because it kind of gives you a little break from the exciting stuff. But yeah, I guess it was a good launching point for my career in the sense I got to do a lot of different stuff and I got to work with agencies on the client side, which I think has helped inform now. Working on agency side, I understand the client side of it because I've been there. It was a nice little starter job.
I remember because just a bit of insight, before you even started, we were doing social media and it was basically me that was doing it. We did campaigns for Diggers, which is a Bunnings brand, and we did a whole range of different, just really basic social media. And we knew that our clients, being in the digital space, were looking for building sites and applications and brands with us. But what we lacked was then to be able to get that awareness of those businesses out there through social media or digital marketing or whatever it would be too. And we thought, let's hire. Let's hire someone. Let's throw our hook in and see what's out there. And we got 50 or so responses and we drilled it down to, I think, 5. And some of them we knew because they'd worked at companies like Flair Industries, which is Hugo Boss, which is like Maya Brands and things like that. One of them was working there and he interviewed really well and got really, really good marks in terms of his spoken, his appearance, his awareness of marketing. But again, like you were saying before, he knew what he was taught in uni.
Yes.
But didn't have the practical work. Yeah. And then, Emily walks in and...
What can I say?
I'm not trying to put a chip on your shoulder here, but no, you're like, I've done all this stuff and here's what I've done, Harvey Norman, JB Hi-Fi, and I've worked with this brand, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, tell us what hardware and software. And you're like, I know Final Cut Pro and I know all about Facebook and Meta and Instagram and and we were just like, tick, 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 this is great. And that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing, it's almost like you don't realize you know all of this stuff until you write it down. Like, because it's so, especially in like my role now, is, you just use all this stuff in the everyday, like pop into Google Ads, do this, pop into Meta, do this, whatever. And then, when you actually, I guess, are looking for a role like that. And
things change so quickly. As part of the bank that we work with, Summerland Bank, which is in the Northern Rivers of New South Wales, you've done Spotify, radio marketing. You've now become the marketing manager for the business too. And we hope to get people underneath you that are doing more of the day-to-day stuff. And depending on what you want to do, that was my big question is, do you prefer doing the creative artwork, branding kind of stuff? Or do you prefer doing the analytics, reporting, tracking, look a studio kind of stuff? Or is it a mix?
I think it's a mix. I do quite a bit of social media work. The problem with that is it's kind of like what I was saying about bending to what the client wants, which obviously is you want to produce something the client wants. But with social media, it can be quite a lot of back and forth for something that will go up and then that's it. At least with like an ad, you've got something running, you've got data and you can optimize it. Like with a social media post, you have like a one chance. So it can be quite, like full on to spend a decent chunk of time producing some creative and then it doesn't really like have the impact you want and then you don't have like much to show for it, So I think that kind of thing can be quite, I don't know, maybe draining something on the day-to-day. Like that's when I prefer to have ad campaigns with lots of analytics and things to look at where you actually have something to back up your knowledge and your creative and showing actually
because if you put it out there and you don't know how it's working or if it's responding or it's converting, which is the biggest thing for most clients. And conversions can be a range of things. It could be they just want to get their brand out there. They want it out to the masses.
That's the thing. I like, having, at least now with Meta, they have all the nice little campaign objectives and they've built it in quite nicely now, whereas I guess back in the day you really had to like do everything yourself. But yeah, I like a mix of kind of on the tools and doing the analytics.
Good. And I think, you do need it. You need to know that your creative's working. If not, you can make the adjustments like you were saying.
Exactly.
So when it comes to getting your ideas and working with the client, and like we were saying as well, sometimes you'll have this amazing idea. We've had it. We've created amazing logos that fit every single part of the strategy or their expectation, and
You can
they
tell
get shot down.
Jay's got some recent bitterness.
Straight in the heart. How do you cope on an individual level when you get that knockback?
I think it's, like you say, just creatives can be a little bit sensitive with that. And like, it's almost I think it almost is just the creative one. Because if I have like ad copy and they knock it back, I don't really care that much. But it's when it's like a visual design, it like hits right in the heart. I think it's just, you've got to just reconsider, like, this is not a piece of artwork for Emily. This is a piece of artwork for this bank.
Good
and
attitude.
this bank wants a certain thing and they've got their own goals, and like, is this artwork actually fulfilling those goals, or is it fulfilling what Emily wants to do? And like, I don't always have, especially working as an agency, like you don't always have the higher level view specifically from the organization, because sometimes your mind is like you're working on 5 different clients in one day and you're kind of like, you're not fully in the mindset of maybe someone who's worked at this one business and focused on them for, 5 years, which some of our marketing clients have. So they have a much like more defined viewpoint of what they want a campaign to do, that you kind of need to build upon and not pretend like you know more about this business in that scenario, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you've really got to listen to them and understand what it is that they're doing. But I think the other side of it too is that they've come to you because they've seen work that you've done in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to bring that together. They can't try and make you do something that you haven't proven that you can do.
Yeah, it can be a hard line to walk, because you want to kind of be like, I am the expert in like, I know more about running an ad campaign and I know about what'll work compared to this client, but then also you don't want to do things that don't align with the actual brand. And it can be really hard to kind of assert your opinions in terms of success and things like that.
I find too with some recent experience too, it's not about being cocky and saying, I've done this for 15 years and I know exactly what you need and all that kind of stuff. It's just having the confidence in what you know and your skills and experience and the tech that you're pitching and provide that confidence to them. And that is the hardest part, to say to them, you need just to trust me.
Yeah.
You need me to just steer this boat and I promise I'll take you where you want to go.
It can be so hard. Like some clients we've had, just they don't want that. They want you to produce what they want. Like that's it. And it's really hard to stomach that and basically produce an output that isn't up to your standard, just because at the end of the day you've got a client to satisfy. Yeah. And if they want one thing, like if they blow down everything you've given them,
sometimes you can have a bit of fun with it too. Say, look, this isn't the ideal way that we would do about it. How about after a month, we'll check the metrics, we'll have a look at the analytics. And if it's not where it should be, give us an opportunity.
Exactly.
And they'll be like, you know what, deal. And it's a bit of gamification. And sometimes it works in their favour. Sometimes it works in ours.
True.
But at least you're committing, and there's that long-term, I guess, work period as well that you're trying to aim for.
Yeah.
And if they win, it's good. They're like, proved you wrong, but they'll stay with you and you've got a good relationship going on.
Yeah.
But if you win, you get to do work that you want to do and in your style. And that's where I think one of the biggest things that I found in terms of marketing yourself is make sure that the work that you're putting into your portfolio is the work that you want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like over the last 23 years or so, 24 years, we've done over 500 websites. We've done over 100 logos. We've done over 50 marketing campaigns. Like, it's huge amounts of stuff. And out of all that, how many websites do you reckon we have on our website
10.
Examples? Yeah, 10.
Exactly.
That's probably it. And we've got about the same in our brands, our marketing, our hosting.
I mean, it's true. You attract the work that you show. Because if we just displayed a bunch of one-page websites, that's the work we'd get.
That's
and
it.
we don't want to do that.
And that's where I think a lot of the major project work that we're doing and the campaigns that we're doing now is because people have had a look at our website or our Instagram channel
true.
or profile, and they're gone, I like that. I want something like that for my business. It's like anything you see on Instagram too. And what Terry will probably talk about in the next episode is how you need to create a series of messaging that is relevant but also engages the right market.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I find one thing, especially with working in like a mixed, well, I guess a full service agency like us, a lot of clients surprisingly want their marketing and website build in the same agency, in the same team, which I feel like maybe you wouldn't expect. It's just that when it comes down to it, like having your marketing person sitting next to your developer, it's much easier to integrate all of the conversion metrics and have all of that data ready to go versus having like, a painful situation where you've got two agencies talking to each other. And
I think that traditionally that was the way it was. Because again, when I went back, when I was at uni, not you, because you're a bit younger than me, you designed websites or you did branding. It was all very segmented.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened in the business world is you'd have a design agency, you'd have a web development company, you'd have a branding person, a communication person. But and because as well, skills are becoming more refined, you can have one person have that skill like we have with you in our agency, and it works because the overlap, a designer, a marketing person, a developer, a strategist, they can all talk, and one contact with the business, it's more efficient, it's more productive, and lower cost.
Well, that's a very good point. And it's just, I think, a lot less effort probably certainly for some of the ad campaigns we've done. I can be reporting on all of the website metrics in the same report as the ad metrics, and it's just a lot less like kerfuffle almost.
Totally.
For the clients.
And I think you're probably at your limit in terms of the work that we can have through you. I know you struggle to get stuff up for our own social profiles.
The problem is when you have work flowing in like that, I mean, that's great, that's what you want, but then like your own internal stuff always takes a back seat. Like the problem is over the last like 6 months, we've just been like inundated, and poor ID digital Instagram. It's just sitting there.
It gets some love.
Neglected.
And like, when it's there, it's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes as
so
well, which is
hard.
weird, people will, like we designed our past website to be basic. And it was meant to represent subconsciously that we were too busy to update our own stuff, which most people went, if they're too busy to update their own stuff, they must be doing well at the projects that they're on. That worked for that part of the brain for people that thought that way, but we realised too that it dropped our search optimization. There's a range of things that it affected, which is why we've got our new site.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So tell me the daily life of an Emily in a marketing manager. How do you get in, think about what you're doing, and get everything done?
How do I get in? As in, how do I come to the office?
No, are you
number
thinking
12
on the
tram
way?
shout out?
Yeah, what's your planning methodology, or how do you?
It's kind of like, interestingly, a conversation we had with Terry about like making lists to what you're going to do the day before. I have like a little rolling list I'm a big fan of the Notes app on Apple. My entire life is on there. If they ever shut that down, I'm screwed. But yeah, just essentially, building out what I need to do day on day and priorities, which then it does kind of have the negative impact of sometimes things get pushed and pushed and pushed because, it also can be hard because we get quite a bit of ad hoc work, especially when you're managing socials and websites. And
it's just agency life, really. Things come in.
Things pop in all the time. So it can be quite hard to, almost stay on track with your tasks for the day. And often things get pushed, they're on my list for Monday and then they don't get done till Friday because there's stuff all the time. But, I mean, mostly it's a mix of stuff. Like I'll probably almost spend a third of every day just doing social content for various clients.
But do you like that? Do you like coming in and not being quite so sure what's going to happen? It's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yes and no. I think it depends on the day. Sometimes I like to just like, no, I'm going to be able to sit at my desk and just like hunker down and get some stuff done.
I
But then,
love those days.
Yeah, some days you come in and you have a meeting at 10 and you're kind of like, well, I can't really do much between 9 and 10. Like I don't want to get really into working on something and then I have to stop and get interrupted. So yeah, there's a lot of like, I feel like I'm still getting I mean, I'm not that far into my career. I don't know how long it'll take me to like get in a proper rhythm of life.
It's hard being productive and have your time management and being able to achieve and communicating and time logging and learning.
Yeah, there's so much to fit into a day. And like lately the days have just been flying by. So I think it's a mix every day of, I probably spend time every single day on more or less every aspect of my job, like between like analytics, ads, social, websites, heaps of different stuff.
And out of the clients that you've got currently, do you find that they're telling you more of what to do versus you coming up with creative, or is it kind of like, here's what we want? Are they giving you more than what you wish they were giving you? Like you wanted to have a bit more freedom about how things should be done?
It's probably half-half. I think a lot of clients, some clients come to you with basically they know what they want and they want you to just execute it because they can't use Final Cut or don't
have the skills
Photoshop. Like they just want you to do this. And then you kind of have to identify that early on, because I fell into the trap of some clients being like, I want this, and they've sent me this mock-up. And I'm like, okay, I'm using this as a basis, and then I've made my own version that's much better. And then they kind of come back and they're like, oh no, you misunderstood. I want that. Like just put it in my fonts. Yeah, and I'm like, okay. So you kind of have to, I think that's a learning curve with different clients to know who kind of goes which way. Yeah.
Are they willing to bend, or is it just, this is it, do this, done? Yeah.
Whereas some clients are completely open to whatever, like, I'll just use my intuition and my knowledge and give them what I think, and then they just, they roll with it.
It's almost like we have to set an expectation at the start to say...
what kind of client are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how creative do you want us to be? And on a scale of 1 to 10, your brief, how much can that wriggle? And then
I find it's based on industry. It does tend to be a little bit... Like I find something like councils, they tend to be pretty open to anything, because I think they just run so much stuff all the time. They're just like, whatever, like we can do all sorts of stuff. Whereas like some of the more regimented clients we've got, like some things like banks or aged care, like you have to be more careful with the kind of stuff you put up.
My last question before we go to speed round. How important is the people in the agency that you're working in? Think about this one and your previous one, for you to feel like you can do what you want to do and to feel comfortable and to feel excited about coming to work.
I mean, literally, probably 99%. It's probably, I mean, for me personally, that's like a major factor in a job. And I think that's one thing I've learned, especially thinking about my previous job and then this one. Like this, we're in one room, like you're the director, you're in charge of everything, but you're here in the bullpen with the rest of us. Versus kind of in my previous roles, it's been more of a, like, I think it's more just kind of that corporate vibe and being on client
and structure.
But like, you kind of have your boss in an office and you're locked away with this and you're in a little cubicle, and like, it completely changes the vibe just based on that alone. And I think it also helps with something about agency camaraderie is like a completely different thing. I feel like that maybe you just don't get on client side. Like you're all just, is the audio working? Hang on.
Huh?
I feel like the audio changed on my...
Oh, did it?
Did it?
No,
I feel like...
good.
No, I can hear it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just checking.
Good.
Oh my God, stress. What was I saying?
Yeah, the camaraderie. I can't even say that word.
Camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just... And especially being in a... what is this called? A co-working space. It makes a big difference, like having all those team events. Like we have breakfast every week. Like that's even an opportunity just to... to talk with people in the team, like even if you don't necessarily network within other members in the building the same way that,
Florian's just behind you. Yeah.
Other people do.
You want to say hi? We're still recording. We're still recording.
Are you?
Yeah. Say hi if you want.
Hey, hi. How's it going?
Florian, our project manager. We're talking about Emily. We're almost done too.
Any juicy goss I'm not aware of?
No.
Nothing? Come on.
Do you know she's done stuff at JB Hi-Fi?
No.
Did you know
that? I did not know that. No,
what do you got? You got a meeting with Cash?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Have
fun.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. People going through the hallways and the co-working spaces. I even found the other day, like you were talking about how you went to some lunch or whatever and you met the people in the office next door to us.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing you just network with people you wouldn't usually talk to, I guess, being in a space like this. Yeah, and it kind of creates good vibes, I think, which is the most important thing, I mean, personally, in terms of office culture is positive vibes. And I would like to think that I contribute to the good vibes.
I think being the marketing manager / event coordinator.
Yes, self-appointed title.
Yeah.
I put that one on myself.
The conversations that we have in the office, and that's why I think it's so important for the team to be in. We do have it that some of the people who live or work for us, but they live quite a fair way away, can do 1 day a week from home, which makes sense, I think. But 80% of the time, is that right? Yeah, 80% of the time, we're in the office and we're working away. You can hear everyone tapping and clicking, but every so often someone will say, oh, did you hear from this client? Or did you see in the news? Or whatever it would be. And we all have a bit of a laugh and chat away. I think it's so important just to get the perspectives of everyone. And we're so different, all of us too.
Well, that's the thing. We're quite a diverse group in terms of, like backgrounds. And it can be, it creates some good conversations. Like, especially just recently with the Olympics, I feel like there's been some, like, you just learn a lot from just being around all different people. And, like, who knew the Philippines only had 1 gold medal prior to this year? Like, that's the kind of thing
It was Pakistani's first gold medal, I think, in javelin or something.
Yeah. I never would have known that without having people in our office kind of having those conversations. And, it can be really beneficial. And I think that makes it good vibes. And then it makes you feel a little bit better about sometimes when you've had, a shitty day with clients. It helps a little bit to
You've
talk
still
about,
got your team and they'll support you. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened as well. Last week it was... Well, the week before it was just, it was a hard week. And it's nothing to do with the team or the output. It's more just...
Sometimes it just happens,
Yeah.
Sometimes things just don't go your way. And I think I think
if you're a good person, you're running a good business and you provide value, it'll sort itself out.
If you'd gotten every single project you've ever put up for in this agency, you'd be in a completely different area.
You wouldn't appreciate the good times.
Exactly. So I think, to get to this point, you've had to lose projects, so...
Yep, you win some, you lose some, but you put your effort into those that you know are going to do well or that are a huge challenge or are going to be great for the team. And that's where, stemming back on what we were talking about before, putting your projects out that you've loved, that you want more of, especially is so important. Every so often we'll go around the team and say, which projects did you like the most? So when it came to you, don't have to name client names, but what's the work that you're really proud about or you'd love to get more of?
Probably just ads generally. We run a few different ones for meta campaigns, but certainly all the clients we run meta campaigns for aren't too keen on. They're kind of in industries that there's regulations and they don't want to expand to TikTok or other things. So there's so many opportunities for ads and different platforms now that I feel like we're just not kind of tapping into because the clients we work on ads for can't really branch into that. So I feel like that would be a nice little add-on to have some more varied platforms.
And do you think there's enough platforms out there? Instagram, Facebook,
I think
TikTok,
there's
LinkedIn.
It makes me nervous how many there are and how much they're growing all the time. And like when you look at TikTok advertising, like the back end of it 1 year ago to today, I think it's like a completely different site. So it's scary.
Even Instagram, I remember when that was just square photos.
Yeah.
Now it's reels, stories. You can do plugs, you can do links, you can do a whole range of stuff.
That's one thing I will say. Meta Facebook at the time, buying Instagram. At the time, everyone was like, no. But now, man, it makes my life easier as an advertiser.
All integrated, yeah.
It's all in one.
And those that don't know, WhatsApp's even owned by Meta.
Owned by Meta. Yeah, they have everything.
We're just doing a Meta business install on a website in Dubai, which is quite interesting and interesting, not interesting. It's just a new opportunity, something that we're learning, something we're getting our teeth into.
Yeah, and certainly with that, like especially when I'd be doing some of the SEO work for that Dubai business, it's interesting to see how things differ between Australia and there. Yeah. Like even when I've been doing keyword research and I switch the location to the United Arab Emirates, it just like has completely different results. I'm like, oh my God.
It's like a whole different type of people, funnily enough.
Exactly.
And they are. So.
Who knew? It's just, it's like a completely different vibe to the work we do right here. So it's a bit of a
And
nice
those that
change of
don't
pace.
know, those that are in Dubai or the United Arab Emirates are using Google. It's just a different type of Google. And it obviously has its restrictions. They can't advertise alcohol. There's a whole range of different stuff.
Yeah, there's interesting regulations, which can also be like. Thankfully, here we're pretty loose on what we can advertise with across Meta and Google. But
One sad thing that happened this week, just before we get into speed round, that the government decided to ban scooters, especially the higher scooters.
is that
They have to finish
sad?
up in 28 days.
I mean, what about
Sad for those. Like, for instance, today I've got a founders meeting at QV in the city. There's no way. Like, if you get an Uber there, it's about $20.
Why
and
would
then I
you
have to
get
come
an
back.
Uber? It's like 4 blocks. Get the tram.
Oh, I didn't think about the tram. I don't think about public transport.
this is the
I was
thing.
going to do a Lime or what's a Neuro thing,
Yeah.
and that's like $5
Public
each way.
transport, people.
Yeah, I
Look.
might after this find out the best way to get there with
Get
you.
the
So.
where are you going? QV.
QV.
Get the number 1 tram.
Number one, look at that. It's the first tram.
I know. Yeah, it's the first tram.
They
You
probably
walk
built
over
it
there,
first.
Get the tram. Goes
Yeah,
up.
Jay needs to get from South
up
Melbourne
Swan
to
Street.
QV.
Yeah,
This is the
I
tram.
know. You got. Yeah, come on. I mean,
All right, let's
I love
do-
a public transport.
Yes. Public transport. Here we go. Speed round.
Okay.
Creative or code?
Creative.
Favorite design tool?
I feel like everything annoys me at least a little bit.
So what's the best of the annoying ones?
I feel like I tend to design most stuff in Illustrator,
Oh, I
but
was going to say Photoshop.
Photoshop annoys me because it's not vector. Illustrator annoys me because you can't crop without clipping masks. InDesign annoys me because
Keep going, this is good.
Everything has an issue that it pisses me off. But Illustrator maybe I think is it's the
Just quietly, have you used any of the generative stuff in Adobe products?
the Adobe ones are bad.
Okay, so far.
The ones on Adobe Express on the web one, which is like their equivalent to Canva, I find are better, which I don't know why, because I feel like it should be the same technology. But certainly the ones in Photoshop, absolutely awful. Unless it's expanding an image, it's good for like sky, adding sky or whatever. But like, yeah, it doesn't have any of the knowledge that the other ones do. Mind you, also the ChatGPT one that's built into ChatGPT 4 is also pretty bad, I feel like. So maybe it's good. I think the AI is better from if you're just generating image from day dot, but the problem is I always have like something and then I want to add something or I want something to go into it. And then that's where it seems to struggle. So I'm interested to see. Hopefully it improves.
So Illustrator.
Illustrator
with,
Back-
with no AI just yet.
Yeah, not
Gotcha.
yet.
Favorite website?
Probably should have thought about this.
pause.
Thought about
You've
this
asked
before
these questions
I know. I
heaps
don't
of
know why I
times.
haven't thought about my answers. What website do I use the most? This is going to be offensive, but can I say Twitter? Even
Twitter?
though-
Really?
Look, I don't like Elon Musk. Are we allowed to talk shit about Elon Musk on this podcast?
That's another podcast maybe between us.
Yes, but look, not for that reason. I've been on Twitter for a very long time. I just feel like it
I didn't even know you're on there.
But it provides something that I don't get from elsewhere on the internet. Like there's just, I
It's
don't
your
know.
personality in an app. Is
Yeah,
it?
like I don't really do anything myself on Twitter. It's more just that the conversations on there, it's just good fun, Yeah, and I'm trying to wean off TikTok a little bit just because it was burning my brain.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway,
Hours per week you work?
what are we here?
40.
40.
So, yep, 40. I reckon you do 41 and a half maybe because you're in early.
I mean, yeah,
I see it. I appreciate it. Thank you. App you first open every day?
Instagram,
Everyone.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
coffee,
Dark mode or light mode?
light mode,
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Work from home or work from office?
For like a mix, I think. It depends on what I have to do. I don't have screens at home, which with everything I do on like any design and video editing, oh my God, anytime I have to use like the trackpad and my little laptop screen, it's the bane of my existence. So for most of the time, work from office.
If you could have as many screens as you could handle, what would it be?
I would have like 6 screens.
6,
I
really?
think what I've got
One for every
now,
app.
like 3 big screens and 3 like laptop screen size ones. And I can have like Spotify open on one, like notes
Email.
on one, Slack on one, and then email on one, and then 2 work screens. Because I
can
want
see
to
that.
be able to see everything.
Emily likes NASA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite font?
I like what's it called? Montserrat.
Oh, Montserrat.
Montserrat?
Yeah, Montserrat.
Ooh, fancy.
We'll have to
I
ask
used that
Antoine
for
to say
something the
that.
other day, and it was just a nice font.
Montserrat. Yeah, we use that on
For
RYA.
something. Yeah, maybe that's what I was using it for. I just thought this is nice. Maybe it's not my favorite of all time, but it's a nice font. Yeah.
More important, design or spec?
And design.
What's your favourite snack while working? Oh, I should answer this. It's either croissant, muffin, almonds. What else do you have?
I don't eat almonds.
Or nuts of some sort?
I don't eat nuts. I'm not a nut eater.
I thought you had nuts. Anyway, what is it? What's your favourite
I
snack?
mean, croissants, you're right, but I eat them it's breakfast. I don't eat a croissant as a snack. I do tend to have like a muffin in the afternoon, maybe like a
Get the sugar.
blueberry muffin. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, but I like the lolly bowl here, which is just what you
It's
said.
damn good.
When I need like a sugar hit in the afternoon, I'll eat whatever they've got.
Yeah, just dig your hand in.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a little something. That's it.
Pineapple on your pizza?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Summer or winter?
Controversial. Winter.
Oh, yeah, I
just-
forgot that about you.
Look, the weather now, it's 20 degrees, it's like sunny, but it's not cold.
Ideal?
This is it. This
Okay.
is ideal.
Anything hotter?
Anything hotter, I hate it. Anything too cold, also not a fan. Like, my problem with winter is mainly getting dark early. That's it.
I'm the same. I hate being dark.
Yeah.
City or countryside?
I'm too in between for all of these.
Come from the country,
grew
now
up in
in
the
the
country,
city.
now I'm in the city. I see the perks of both. I don't think I could ever fully live country again, just because there's nothing goes on there.
Final question. Time travel into the past or into the future? It's a challenge, this one.
Look, past, and I would go back not even very far. I'd go back 10 years, not even 10 years. I would go back maybe to 2005, and I would buy a bunch of Bitcoin. And I would,
Of course. If you knew that it was
course I
going to
would.
go
I'm
so
going back
amazing.
with the
Oh, I
knowledge.
see.
So I'd
you're
use
going to
it-
disrupt the future. is what
Yeah,
you're saying?
of
You're going to do,
course.
what's that guy out of Back to the Future?
Yeah. What, Doc?
No.
No.
The nemesis in it.
Marty. Who?
No. Biff.
Biff.
Biff Tannen. That's you.
I was only looking at a picture of Biff yesterday.
Were you?
Yeah.
After you watched Titanic?
Yeah, because the evil guy in Titanic is one of Biff's friends in Back to the Future.
Yeah. What's his name?
Didn't know that.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
the Kate Winslet's husband or whatever in it. Yeah.
That's it. Cal?
Cal.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Hey, Cal. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
yeah.
so
I
go
would
into the
I would
past.
use it
Disrupt
for
it.
monetary gain.
Fair enough.
Well,
Is there
what can I
anything
say?
you'd like to mention or plug, Emily?
Idea Digital.
Oh, that's nice of you.
It's an agency. I have nothing going on in my life.
Yes, you do.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. You
What's the last thing that you did with your mum? You went to a show recently?
we went to the NGV,
How was that?
the Pharaoh exhibition. It was very history. Look, this is controversial. I don't really care about Egypt.
Egypt.
I'm sorry. It's a bunch of stones with hieroglyphics on it.
Oh, controversial.
It's been done. I'm
But
sorry.
how did they get there?
Well, this is the problem. It's in partnership with the British Museum, and we know how the British got everything.
Hang on. You're telling me that the British Museum had something to do with the formation of the pyramids 5,000 years
no.
ago? No?
No, I mean the exhibition. No, I mean I think the aliens built the pyramids. I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah, something big and wild.
I don't know. See, I just don't really. Whatever.
Before
anyway,
we get too deep into
Yeah.
that, we'll finish up. But thanks very much, Emily, for showing us a bit deeper into where you were and what you're doing.
Yes.
Quick little thing.
yes.
Where do you see social media going with your
I think
day in
it's-
and day out experience?
The problem is that it's becoming so convoluted. TikTok is the only real disruptor we've had recently. I feel like we're still not getting to the point where anyone's picking up new social media. So it'll just continue to be the same shitty 4 platforms essentially, and they'll all add the same stuff into each other and compete with each other and probably buy each other out. And then I think it's going to get really bad before it gets better, which is kind of a dark view on it.
I reckon social. I've got an idea about
Okay.
it. I won't go into it a lot of detail, but I think there will be an app soon that will try and encourage people to be more physically together, more in the present world versus being online.
I feel like almost the pandemic did that in the terms of it
but
forced people to be apart, and then everyone was like, oh, we actually like being in person.
But I heard on the radio too that in Melbourne at the moment, commercial buildings are at an all-time low of 20% occupancy.
I mean, yeah.
Right? And
Makes
you'll
sense.
see in the city on the weekends, I was speaking to someone this morning, Chapel Street in Toorak. Is it Toorak?
Yeah, South Yarra.
South Yarra. And the city are booming.
Yeah, of course.
Night on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they
love
are
it.
booming. There's lots going on. But during the week, dead. And that's where I think governments and all that will want to invest in these types of things to bring more traffic, more people together for more better connections and more that kind of stuff.
I mean, I can see that that's going to be a priority, but I don't know how social media is
how's it
really
gonna do
going
it?
to help that.
That's
I
where
think it's just going to
can see
be
it. Yeah.
a bunch of advertising for events in the CBD. I did actually see
I can't say too much. I'll tell you after this. But
okay.
yeah, I've got an idea of how to do this. Yeah.
drama. I was just going to say that I saw the mayor of Melbourne handing out like soups in Flinders Street station.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get a
So-
snap? Get a photo?
Did not, but I was like, it's pretty cool. It's the mayor, but I was like, this is
he's out there
clearly
with the
this is
people.
how they're trying to get people to return to the city by the mayor being
out
in
soup.
Flinders Street giving
out
out
soup.
soup. I know. I think it was maybe the soup was unrelated. She just like wanted something to do. I don't. It was odd. Anyway, so if that's their strategies,
depression.
maybe they
That's-
need
yeah,
to
that's-
hire us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Emily.
Anyway, thanks, Jay.
See you back in the office.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to the Creative and Code podcast.
That's all, folks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it as inspiring and entertaining as we did. Remember, there are plenty more episodes to explore, so make sure you keep listening for more creative insights and coding tips. A big shout out to our amazing sponsors and the team at ID Digital Agency for making this podcast possible. Got a story to share or want to be a guest on our show? We'd love to hear from you. Send us a 2-minute or less audio clip to creativeandcode@iddigital.com.au. Suggestions, ideas, or just want to say hi, we're all ears. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, stay creative and keep coding.